The internet changed how we work. AI is changing what work gets done. A bank cut loan processing from days to hours. A student built an AI scheduler, improving on-time delivery from under 70% to over 90%. Most teams know AI matters, but aren't sure where to start. InAI is Indiana's statewide AI adoption effort, built with industry, academia, and community partners, helping you move from understanding to action. Visit inaiready.com.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand for Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. I'm Gary Dick. The Chicago Bears could have an update as soon as September on the team's plans for a new stadium in Hammond. That according to Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott Jr. He told Inside Indiana Business he does not expect a stadium agreement to be finalized until the Bears complete their due diligence on a site the team is now considering, but said he's hopeful the city will have something concrete in place next month. And that, quote, there is no other serious discussion about any other possibility for a stadium site other than Hammond, Indiana. Look for Naval Surface Warfare Center Crane Division and the Indiana National Guard to host a ribbon-cutting ceremony today for what is being billed as the nation's first ground-based sled track facility at Camp Atterbury. Crane Technical Director Angela Lewis says the facility is designed to simulate the high-speed flight environment of military aircraft.
You can imagine the cost associated with testing flares, for lack of a more technical term, and the sled track will allow us to do that on the ground at Camp Atterbury.
A total of 65 Indiana-based companies are included in this year's Inc. 5000 ranking. The top 5 Indiana companies are based in Evansville, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, and Syracuse. You can see the complete list at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. You're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.
Indiana Transportation Construction Groups said Tuesday the state needs a more diversified source of revenue for road funding.
Leaders of the Build Indiana Council, American Council of Engineering Companies Indiana, and Indiana Constructors, Inc. said progress on roads and bridges across the state is at risk if the state doesn't expand its funding base beyond fuel taxes. The challenges to road funding have been highlighted by Governor Mike Braun's repeated suspensions of gasoline taxes, the state's main revenue source for road projects. Last week, the governor suspended what's essentially the sales tax on gas and the per-gallon tax on gas for the 5th month in a row. Braun and legislative leaders have pledged to backfill the money those taxes would have generated for state and local roads by dipping into the state's surplus. The transportation groups said suspending the gas taxes was the right move, but the policy can't go on forever. And long term, the group said, the state's road funding sources face structural challenges, namely the reliance on gasoline and diesel taxes that have become less effective as vehicles have become more fuel efficient. Simultaneously, the costs of key materials for road construction, such as concrete and steel, are up. The construction groups want to continue taxing gas and diesel because those fees are paid by the users of the roads, but they suggested other user-based sources, including higher registration fees, tolls, and charges based on vehicle miles traveled. Alex Brown, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
The Valparaiso City Council has approved a moratorium on new data center development as the city works to establish regulations for the rapidly growing industry. Our partners at the Times of Northwest Indiana report. Councilors unanimously approved the moratorium Monday night, which takes effect immediately. The City of Beech Grove and Mechanical Skills, Inc. are marking the opening of a new plumbing apprenticeship training center in Beech Grove. The center features classrooms and hands-on plumbing labs with the capacity to serve up to 500 students per week. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.